guys, Jody here, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I will be doing my March reading wrap-up / spoiler-free book review of the book that I read in March. So first, I'll talk a bit on what the book I read is about, then I'll share my thoughts, and when my review is over, I will give out my star rating. So without any further ado, let's get on to what I read in March, and that would be dun, da, 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 The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. So the last thing he told me is about Hannah. Hannah was someone who wasn't looking for love. Then she met Owen, a smart, charming, handsome man who made her feel as though she was the only person in the room. Shortly after meeting, the two fall in love, and after some time of dating, Hannah and Owen marry. Hannah leaves behind her life in New York City to start a new one in Sausalito, California, where Owen lives. She moves into Owen's floating home that he has on the water, a home that he shares with his daughter, Bailey. Hannah has never been happier. That all changes one day, though, when she receives a note from Owen that just simply says, "Protect her." Hannah doesn't know what to make of this note and immediately contacts Owen to ask what is going on. The problem is, Owen is nowhere to be found. He's essentially gone missing. Hannah thought she knew possibly everything she could about Owen. Does she really, though? Why did he write her this note? Where is he? Hannah begins to think after some time that maybe Owen isn't the person she thought he was. So that is more or less the overview of what The Last Thing He Told Me is about. I don't want to delve any more into the specifics of the story as I am making this a spoiler-free review. So now, as far as my thoughts on this book go, to start off, I absolutely loved this book. It's definitely a book I would consider one of my favorite books that I've ever read now. And yeah, now I'll talk a bit more now about, the structure of how the story was written and the characters, all spoiler free, just to give you an idea of if this is something you might be interested in wanting to read. So when I picked up this book to read, the premise to me sounded like it would have a very high intensity feel to it, a mystery thriller with twists and turns on every page. And I would say once I hit the halfway mark of the story, it became more clear to me that this was not, nor would it ever be, a high intense mystery thriller. I would definitely categorize this as a very slow burn mystery. And despite the pacing going at quite an extremely slow pace, I was still so invested in the story. And the Laura Dave wrote a story that was able to keep my full attention from the very first to the very last page. And I think that's because it was just like I said, despite the pacing of the story going so slow, Laura Dave just wrote such an amazing story that you couldn't help but want to know where the story was going. Like, you were never bored. There was never a dull moment, despite the pacing being on the slower side. So that just shows what a great writer Laura Dave is. And yeah, that's a little bit of how the structure of the story, was. So you have an idea. And then if you like character-based driven stories, this is definitely a book you might want to pick up to read, because the characters were so well written. You felt, as a reader, everything that they were going through, every fear, every hope, every emotion. And these are characters that you will long remember after finishing this story. They're just characters that will stay with you. And so, yeah, that's those are my thoughts on the parts of the story that really stood out to me that I thought I'd share. So, it's funny enough, when I heard about this book, I really thought, I never heard of this author before, and I honestly thought it was their debut novel. But when I was at the bookstore, I think maybe a month or so ago, about a month ago, I looked on the shelf, and this book had since come out in paperback, and I saw how there were many more other novels written by Laura Dave, and she's been a writer for quite some time now, so sorry about that. But yeah, I was like, since I was enjoying this story so much, and I love her writing, the way she writes as a storyteller, it's just a really great storyteller. And I was like, why not pick up some more books? I only picked up one for now, but because they all sounded so interesting, but this was the one that piqued my interest the most. But it's called The First Husband, and I can't wait to read this at some point in the future. And yeah, I just really great new writer for me, and I can't wait to read more of her novels in the future, like I said. So, before I made this video here today, I did write a spoiler-free book review on The Last Thing You Told Me on my blog. Link to my blog is in the description below. And it's more or less what I talked about here today, but just thought I'd point it out. If you're interested, I have written a spoiler-free review of this book that you can find on my blog. So, yeah, let me know in the comments if you've read The Last Thing You Told Me. If so, how did you like it? What book or books did you read in March? And yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so very much for watching, and until next time, bye!